Good morning, everybody. It is that time of year when you want to ask yourself the question, am I spending any money that I wasn't anticipating on spending at the beginning of the year when I built my budget? And here's why. So let's say you built your budget this January or February and you were like, yeah, we'll spend maybe, 20 grand in fuel this year. And here it is, middle of May. You're going to want to sit down and go to your QuickBooks, open up your profit and loss statement, go down to your cost of goods, and check your overhead expenses rather, and check to see how much you've actually spent on fuel so far this year. And if you had budgeted for 20 in your SynkedUP budget or whatever spreadsheet or whatever you're using, and it's in the middle of the year and you've already spent 15, that's a warning sign, which means you'll spend 30 grand in fuel over the course of the year if you keep spending the way you did. And that's just a quick example, but the whole point is a couple times throughout the year, you want to stop, check your actual spending against what you had budgeted that you would spend when you built your company budget. If you've never built a company budget, the whole point of the company budget is to determine all of your expenses so that your overhead is being covered when you calculate your man-hour price and your markups on your estimates and your jobs. And if that budget is wrong or out of date, what's going to happen is those markups are not sufficient. They're not correct, and what was supposed to be your profit is going to go to pay for those overhead expenses that you had not allocated in your budget properly. So what I am writing about in my blog this week is that exact thing. I'm kind of sharing a story. A friend of mine that has been using SynkedUP since the very early days of SynkedUP, and he had built a budget for like an $800,000 in gross revenue business, and he grew explosively quickly. And by August, he was doing revenue that was going to tap into 1.6 million, double what his budget was. What do you think happened? Yeah, his overhead expenses went up. And what was tricky about it is his budget, well, what happened is he started running out of cash flow. Like he had a cash flow crunch because he had all these overhead expenses that he had to pay, and he was paying them with what was supposed to be his profit because he was building all his estimates and quotes based off of an $800,000 budget, which meant all his markups and man-hour prices were based on, hey, I have the overhead expenses of an $800,000 business, when in fact he had the overhead expenses of a $1.6 million business. And so that's, I should have a pen here to draw, or a whiteboard, draw out what this means, but hopefully you're following with me. And if you're not following, go read my written blog article. I'll put a link around this video somewhere because I kind of lay out in writing some of the examples so you can kind of see how the math works. But all this to say, the whole goal is first to have a budget, but then once you have your budget, just periodically throughout the year, check that budget against your actual spend and update it and tweak it as needed. I would rather have my budget be 10% higher than my actual spend than 10% lower. Because if it's 10% higher, now it means I have extra cash that I could reinvest into the company or take more profits out of. If it's lower, now what was supposed to be my profit is going to go to pay those expenses and have nothing left. And this is where people get into trouble. This is why you can't base your pricing based on your competitor's pricing or somebody else's pricing on Facebook threads, because there's no way that you can everybody has different overhead expenses. So everybody's overhead markups is going to be different. Everybody's man-hour price is going to be different. Even if you go out and buy a new truck, your price should change. The moment you go buy a new truck, plug it into your budget. Guess what? Your man-hour price is going to tweak a little bit. The moment you hire an office admin so that you don't have to work as much nights and weekends, go plug it in your budget, because guess what? That's gonna change your pricing and your markup. So all that to say, the whole goal is to keep your budget in line with your actual spend, if not just a few percentage points higher than your actual spend, just to give you a little bit of that buffer. And once you have that in place, it's really, really simple. It's really, really easy. It's not. It sounds like it's a lot of hard work. It's not. And if you've never built a budget, come on, we'll help you. Or go to our website. We have a free budgeting tool. Or I'm getting ready to launch a course on how to price my job.com, which I haven't really announced it yet, but you could go check it out, howtopricemyjob.com. and it's ready to go. It's just I need to do the marketing for it first, or yet. And that course basically boils it down to as basic and simple of a step as you can make it if you starting from square one and never have had any sort of budget whatsoever. Probably don't even have an accountant or whatever. But if you're a SynkedUP user and you're listening to this, and we helped you build your budget when you signed up through the winter or whatever, reach out to us. There is a link that you can book a call for a budget review, and we will, as the budgeting experts, look over your shoulder, help you check your actual versus estimated, and make sure that your budget's in line with reality. So as a SynkedUP user, you have that access to us and our team for free. There's no charge for that. We just want to make sure that you're charging the prices on your jobs that you have to be charged to be profitable. We take that very seriously, and we kind of take that personally. Like, we want to make sure you're profitable. And if you're not a SynkedUP user and have never built a budget, well, you can use the free budgeting tool on our SynkedUp.com website, or you can book a call with our team, and we can kind of show you the nuts and the bolts of what we mean when we say build a budget, and how the product will help you, or you can take that course. Whether you're a SynkedUp user or a non-SynkedUp user, that course will have some value in there for you. So that's my nugget of truth for you today. Just make sure that whatever you're spending is in your budget, and then maybe some with an extra buffer, just to make sure that when you get to the end of the year and you worked really hard all year long, that there's actually something to show for it. You can give you guys raises, you can take some profit out of the business, or you can reinvest it back into the business to become the business you really want to be and own the business instead of the business owning you. All right, guys. Cheers. It's a beautiful Friday morning out here in my backyard. I just love working out here and listening to the birds sing in the woods. It's pretty awesome, but hope you all have a great weekend. See ya.